You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring DeAngelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You push play and they'll push the limits.
It's your boy Tom here, and we are back with another episode of the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast. Ooh, fellas. You know, Michael Jordan's got the flu game, and now LeBron James has the eye poke game. That's the stuff that legends are made of.
Oh,
How was
my
your
God.
weekend?
Well, I could have done without hearing that nonsense.
I could have definitely totally done without hearing that. It is unbelievable that you would even kick the podcast off by saying something like that.
I mean, the stand-up he has is ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Stand up.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. Let's not even address that, Gary. Let's get into it, bro. How was your weekend, Gary? Because we obviously, Tom woke up this morning and chose violence, so we ain't doing that.
So we actually, I had my spring game. So we coached all spring, and we won 21-0.
Wow.
So we're starting off on the right foot. I did have some coaches comment about the way D's been bad-mouthing the team. They said if he keeps talking bad about the team, they're going to come have some words with him.
Hey, that'll be one of the very few games you would have won, too.
So
that's great, man. 21-0. You got to give us some stats on the other team so we'll know how to, like, place this victory. Like, did this team also go 0-0 last year?
No, last year they went 6-4. They were in the playoffs last year.
Okay. All right. So you beat a playoff team 21-0.
Yeah, but now they're a team that they're sort of like we are. We don't have a lot of kids. Like they have 40 kids on their team. I think we might have 45. So like it was just a battle of like teams that don't have a ton of players. Like a lot of players from our area get poked from other schools because there's so many schools around us and they've opened so many schools.
Are you telling me they recruit in Florida, Gary? I don't believe that.
Schools do recruit everywhere. It's ridiculous. We do not, but other schools do recruit.
Wow.
That's why y'all terrible, because y'all don't know how to recruit.
Recruiting's illegal in high school football,
That's
and it still happens
until you get caught, Gary.
Correct.
That's what I don't think. What the hell are you on the team for if you're not gonna bring recruits in?
Well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm here to help the kids. I'm here to help the kids.
Help better kids come play for your institution. Therefore, making you better get more booster money.
We got the kids.
Do y'all didn't have the kids last year? What? All of a sudden they just got there this year?
All of our kids last year were freshmen and sophomores and juniors. We lost 2 seniors basically that played. Everybody else is back.
Gary, if you're an ex-NFL player and you come back home to coach, if you're not using you being an NFL player and a coach and going to that school to recruit other people, you're doing the program an injustice.
Don't cheat. I don't cheat. Sorry.
It's not cheating if you're trying. No, that's trying. There's
it's
different
cheating
words.
If you get caught, not the trying. If you get caught, it's cheating. We will not cheat.
Y'all keep them no-win seasons going while everybody else is winning. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's an exhibition game. That don't go on your record. You still 0-0.
It's the right start for the kids. Kids are excited going into the summer workouts and be ready to go in the fall.
Yeah, but okay.
D, we got to check that game film and see if there was an 85 out there running around.
For one, I would never be 85. So
that's true.
So many questions. I have so many questions. So you won this game 21-0. Did their starters play?
Yes.
What was the dynamic of the game? Like they starters only play one quarter, or did their starters play the entire game?
Both starters played the first half.
What was the score at the end of the first half?
21-0.
Okay. All right.
I know you're trying to get us. I know. I see what you're trying to do.
I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to make sure that we all talking the same thing. I just want to make sure our listeners out there hear what it is that you was doing. So was there anything that you did that you can accredit your coaching ability to that changed the program from last year to this year? You see what I'm asking here?
I don't think it's anything I personally do. It's just the coaches in general, the players buying in and wanting to do more. That's about it.
Okay, Gary. Okay. We hear this buying in all the time. What does this truly mean in buying in? Because we say We saw it like when we had losing seasons. What's the difference between a losing season and somebody going to the Super Bowl or going to play in those big games? Because people say it all the time. Like, what is buying? Like, how do you explain to somebody that's never played the game buying in?
To me, the easiest way to do it is when you don't have to rely on coaches to hold the players accountable. The players hold each other accountable. To me, when you have the players are holding each other accountable and they're expecting perfection from the other players, and it's not the coaches having to do it, that to me is when you have changed everything, because now you're not having to just rely on coaching. Now the players can make sure everybody's getting motivating each other, and I think the player accountability is what separates it.
Okay. Look at you, Gary. That's what I'm
And
talking
talent.
about.
And talent.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously you got to have some talent, correct? But hey, I'm just saying, I started as a second tight end, as a 215-pound tight end, so blocking Trent Cole, one of the sack leaders in NCAA, at 280. So he was definitely more talented than I was at that age, but I just had technique, and I was able to get in his way long enough for our running back to get by.
Oh shit! Did he just call out Trent Cole? He just called him out.
I'm saying I did my job of getting in his way. I'm not saying,
is that not
I'm saying
like a
he's
light
more
flex though,
talented than I
Ty?
was.
Was that a light flex? Like, yeah, I put him on his ass. I blocked him.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I did not put him on his ass. I know that.
Speaking of Gary and his athletic ability, I just want to say this: our poll that we had for whether or not Gary would be able to run under a 4.8 still, it came back 20% thought that Gary would be able to do it, and 80% said, "Hell no, I'll get the stretcher."
So you interviewed you and DeAngelo?
No,
And then
first of all,
myself?
bro, I'm letting
That's
you
what
know
you
right
did?
now. You better sit your ass on the couch and stay on the couch, man.
I can't wait to prove go wrong.
Getting out here trying to run this 40, man. And you ain't did shit in 3 years, bro.
Cannot wait
You're
to
going
prove
to
go wrong.
Bro, and then if you prove us wrong, then what? I mean, if you prove us right, then what?
I just now I hold that over y'all. Oh, I couldn't do that. I did all this after 4 years of doing nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can't ever question anything I do now.
Bro, I'm telling you, Gary, you're like the drunk uncle. Like Uncle Rico, man.
So
Uncle Rico.
I'm gonna
Uncle Rico, Gary. You Uncle Rico.
You always say you better hope that I go before you, Gary. I'm gonna say the same thing. You better hope I don't run under a 4.8, because if I do, boy, there could be hell to pay for you. Y'all can't say anything to me ever again. I'm gonna be 65.
Right.
I can still run a 4.8. Y'all can't question me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Now,
Gary.
I think one of us needs to be on the premises to make sure that there's
we definitely gonna
proper 40.
So what I've already figured out how I'm going to do it. So when I actually do it, I'm going to race somebody, because I definitely will run faster racing.
Oh, is that what you trying to
Right.
do?
I got to get every benefit I can.
So what you're telling me, Gary, is you're going to do a competition amongst your football team to see who the fastest on the team is, and give them an opportunity to race a former pro football player.
Correct.
Live.
I'm going to give them that opportunity, and then I'm going to smoke them. And then they can't say anything either. And then they can say, "Oh, you still got it." Yes, I do.
No, nobody's gonna say that, Gary. Nobody's gonna say you still got it. If that's what you're looking for, don't even get out there. Don't even get out there. Do this.
Notice how he's talking about when I do it. Is he sneakily training in the back? Wait,
know better than that. Y'all should know better than that.
If I know anything about Gary's not finna put forth the effort to do any of that shit. None of that. You don't do that work at all. If you, for a shadow of a doubt, if y'all think out there listening that Gary's like, oh, let me sneak in and work out here or work out there, you are sadly mistaken. Okay. The thought of that nauseates Gary. So you don't have to worry about that out. He will not cheat. You will get the pure form. Like when he get out there, if he does run a 4.8, it's gonna be impressive as hell. I don't know what Michael Vick did in his free time, but I know 100% what Gary's done in his. Not a damn thing. Nothing. So I can vouch for this. Like, yeah, he gonna have a lot going on. So when he does run it, that's why I'm so worried about him, because again, he hadn't did anything in 4 years. And 4 years ago, when he was doing something, he was doing the bare minimum. So to find out now that he's not doing anything, Oh, there's no way. He gonna blow both groins. He gonna pull both hamstrings. And both his it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a damn. He gonna need help.
I feel the confidence is resonating from both of y'all.
The confidence in you
isn't that
injuring
what friends
yourself.
are for?
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. It's like we want to be friends and support you, Gary, but we ain't gonna support you in hurting yourself like this.
But we support you with your LeBron fandom, so.
Do you support me continuing to come on here and rant about LeBron because of y'all?
The latter. The
fire.
latter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
What about
this is
you,
what I did. Oh, so this is what I did this weekend. So I went on a bike ride. It was a beautiful bike ride too, man.
Did you wreck?
No, damn, Gary.
I'm just making sure. You've got
this is
wrecks.
like
Your
it's not
odds
like
aren't very
hockey,
good.
bro. Damn, I've ridden 100 times.
Hey,
I have
you
2
only
wrecks.
tell us every once in a while, so we don't know.
Boy.
We heard what your trainer said on the roast. You ride sometimes in air quotes.
See, he's a hater. He's a hater. That's what it is. That was national hate on DeAngelo Williams Day. That wasn't my birthday. That's what that was. So I get it. Y'all fully disguised it. I'm just letting you know we went for a beautiful ride, Gary. This is something that you've never felt the wind on your face from a nice cycling ride
Oh
ever.
no,
Have
from
you?
roller coasters I have though. Or from my golf cart I have.
Where you're powering the wheels though, Gary, where you getting the work in.
Well, I do
Yeah.
when I ride a jet ski or four-wheel. I got to push the gas.
I hate you, Gary. I hate you. This is how I know he's not sneaking in workouts because he don't want to get on the damn bike. Yeah. So we did a bike ride, and after we did a bike ride, we was having dinner at our friend's house. This is gonna really throw us into some interesting conversations, but I'm gonna say it. So he's one of our Latino riders and one of our homeboys, and his wife is like fully Latino, so she was gonna cook a Latino meal for us. And we was like, oh, this is gonna be dope because we always say like, hey, we're going to get Mexican, and they always be like, that's not real Mexican food, and I'm like, well, I mean, Mexican people cooking. I don't know what real Mexican food is versus what isn't real Mexican food. So he was like, hey, come over to the house. We gonna show you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm cool with that. I don't have a problem, And then he goes, do you eat Mexican food? And I was like, bro, we just had a whole conversation about it. Obviously, I eat it. So we got there and we had a good time, and he introduced us to Descada. Have anybody ever had Descada before?
I have not.
Never, right? So we had meat Descada, and it was comprised of every part of the pig you could think of, like grounded up pretty much into like a taco meat kind of, but you put it on tortillas and you eat it. It was really good, bro. We was mixing it with salad and everything, but it was absolutely phenomenal. And he goes, this is real Mexican food. And I start thinking to myself, if they would have offered me Descada at this restaurant and I would have eaten it, would it have tasted better than what people call homemade? Because look, I know for a fact I got box taste buds. I do 100%. Stuff from a box seem to taste better depending on how it's made, I guess, if you will. And I know I got box taste buds, but I'm asking you guys if there's something like Gary, he really loves a Chick-fil-A sauce. Uh, 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 I don't know why he get that sauce, but there's a million other recipes out there that are homemade that could be better. But you could taste them and be like, oh, this is trash. Why is that? So, because if homemade is supposed to be better, then why we got industry taste buds, I guess, if you will.
I think the homemade is just better for you usually because they pump preservatives into the other stuff, which makes it gives it a better flavor, a better taste, or whatever, supposedly, because you're used to eating that type of stuff because they pump the preservatives and everything.
Yeah, I think what it is our taste buds are so used to certain things that it's almost hard for us to, when something is fresh or, taste like it should. We're used to the artificial taste that we've been used to because that's all we've known.
Yeah, so I went over there and I'm looking for the queso. I'm like, shoot, this queso about to be bomb.
Yeah.
Where they don't do queso. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, like it's salsa is what they normally dip it in, not queso. That's an American thing.
Well, hey, that's one of my favorite parts.
Correct. I love cheese.
That's what I was like. Man, that's the first thing I walked in. I was like, man, I know this queso about to be bumping. And she was like, where you gonna get some queso from? I said, hell, here I thought. That's the main course, pretty much. You know, especially when you come in hungry.
Right. Have you ever had the flamiato? It's like it's cheese, but it's been melted to where it's like it's not really queso, but it's like melted cheese, and usually might have like some chorizo or something in it, and you put it on tortillas. I remember the first time because it says like the restaurant I went to, it says queso flamiato. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this, and so like they bring it out, and at first I couldn't really tell it wasn't normal queso, so I went and tried to like dip my chip in it, and it like broke. I was like, what kind of queso is this? And I realized it's a different form that they have that it's pretty much like cheese that's been melted down, but it's not like sauce cheese. And then you spread the cheese onto the tortillas.
I'm just saying, I don't know if everybody else that's listening to this feels the same way, but I want Mexican tonight for dinner. Just saying, like the fact y'all keep talking about it makes me want it. Like I want queso now. I want Mexican food tonight for dinner, so I'm thinking I'm gonna have it.
Yeah. Okay. So
because I just actually went to a Mexican restaurant and I paid with Safe Moon, and so that was pretty interesting.
That's a good one. I didn't know they started taking Safe Moon yet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's good. It's good to adopt it.
Here he come with these cheap plugs. He coming with these cheap Safe Moon plugs. Okay, so
hey, we got
so
you to say it.
Exactly.
Awful. It's awful. It's awful. This place is terrible here. It's terrible. But this brought me to my next question. So, how do you say that without offending anybody?
You don't
say what?
Like Mexican food. Like what type? What is it called? What kind of food is it called?
Mexican food.
I guess there's different kinds. It depends on like what.
You see what I'm seeing here, Tom?
There's
like so, how do you
accept Mexican food? But then there's also different types of Latin food.
Yeah, there's different.
So what's the correct way of saying that without offending somebody? That was the see, I set y'all up because this is exactly how I felt. I did everything y'all just did, and then I was like, oh shit, I could have been offensive as hell and didn't even know it.
Well,
like, what's the correct? That's why I said.
What did they call it? What did they call it?
Well, they didn't really call it anything because it's their like soul food as it relates to black people. You wouldn't say like, "Hey, man, let me get some of that soul food." You would be like, "Hey, let me get some greens."
You do it all the time to me. You're like, "I'm going to take you to this soul food restaurant." Yeah, you say it all the time to me. I don't want to hear it.
DeAngelo, would you prefer us say we can't wait for you to take us to get black people food?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you say that without offending something? Like Chinese food. Like, hey man, let's go get some Chinese food. Like I've been saying that for years. That's what I thought it was called.
That is offensive though. Like I don't know how you would think that's offensive just because it's what it is. Like that's the type of food. Like we can't be like, hey, let's go get tacos and something. I guess you could say let's go get tacos. But that doesn't mean that's not everything. What if I want to go get enchiladas or I want a tostada or something like that or an empanada? Like there's all these different things. Like you're just not going to start naming off everything you want to get.
You're talking about a region versus like a people group. So maybe it's like that's why it feels different when you say Chinese food.
It's just like overseas. Like if you go to Europe, they call our food American food. Like they have American food restaurants.
Okay. All right, so Mexican is Mexican is a pretty good. Like I can use that.
I would say yes. You can use that when you're describing food. Yes.
Okay.
Right, but it depends because the same thing though is like, what if you're getting a certain type of food that's not Mexican food, but it's like from a Latin country, then
But
I
I
would
also
call
feel like
whatever.
they would tell you that. They might be like, hey, this is what we
Right.
call this instead.
Exactly.
Okay. I just wanted I was just trying to be respectful. I didn't know it because it hit me and I was like, ooh, just like Tom just said, if they would have been like, yeah, man, take me to give me some black people food. Like I'm gonna have to accept that. I'm gonna have to accept that because I just technically just call their food Mexican
But the
or
thing is,
Chinese.
it's like when you say soul food, like there are restaurants that are soul food restaurants. Like if I said I want to go try this soul food restaurant, that's what it is. Like what else am I supposed to call it? That's what it
Right.
is.
Like let's go get some Jamaican food. Like I mean, like you see what I'm saying? Like
Well,
it's
they
just
had Bob Marley's. We had that Bob Marley restaurant we always go to at Disney.
I'm not saying that they don't exist. I'm
I know.
saying
As I'm
how
saying,
do
like
you
I would think that's a widely accepted to call by if when you're in relation to food. I think it's widely accepted to call it what it is. That's the
okay.
type of food it
All right.
is.
Okay.
DeAngelo's
I'm
trying to get us
just
into cancel culture.
Yeah, we've already had those conversations way too many times.
no, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure in the event that I wanted to become PC, I knew I was trending in the right
We
direction.
know that's not happening, so don't even act like that's a possibility.
I'm about to say,
Oh,
what sponsor are you trying to tell to listen to the show this week? So you're trying to
no,
button it up
no,
for him.
nothing at all. But we went to the dinner. It was absolutely amazing, man. Couldn't complain at all. The salsa was absolutely amazing. The discata, and you know, we were leaving there and I was like, man, you know, that's pretty cool. You know, you can go hang out with friends.
Did you get a dessert?
Yeah, I don't want
What
to
kind of
talk about
dessert was? No, I'm saying what kind of dessert did they make? Because I'd be interested. Because the only thing I know
it.
is like,
No, this is no. We didn't get dessert from
oh, you
hold
went and
up.
got dessert afterwards. Got it. You went and got ice cream afterwards. You didn't eat their dessert that they made. Got it.
no, no, that's not what happened. So they didn't make dessert. And I feel like I have to define who they is because I you can get lost. This can all can get lost in translation. So Tom brought a cake, a chocolate cake. He's a baker. And then David, he brought like a cake, like a strawberry pie cake, which was good. It was really good. I was impressed. I was like, dude, both of the guys bake, but I don't know exactly what their go-to dessert is in Latin America. I don't know. I wish I would have tried, but I'm assuming, and this is just me assuming that it's some sort of like tortilla, because that's usually what I get at the Mexican restaurant. The tortilla things with the strawberry drizzle and the whipped cream, I'd be ready for those because they fire. Or it's churros. So I mean, I, I
Flan,
don't I don't know much after that.
Yeah.
flan, and tres leches.
Okay.
What?
That's always
I
good
don't
stuff.
like flan though.
Yeah, I'm not a huge flan fan, but I love the tres leches cakes.
Yeah.
Those are delicious.
But it was absolutely amazing, man. That's pretty much all I did this weekend. I mean, the kids swam. I sat underneath the patio in the shade and watched them swim.
Why didn't you swim with them?
I mean, what does that mean, Gary?
Well, I'm
What you
just saying
trying
because if I would have been there, you would have had me in the pool with them. So
to?
why weren't
Hold
you in
up.
the
No,
pool
I
with
just
them?
felt like you was attacking me as if I didn't know how to swim.
I know you know how to swim. I've swam with you.
Oh, okay. Well, you always throw the joke out there. Black people can't swim, so I just
Oh,
want to make
wow.
sure listeners out there know that I can swim.
I already
You
know you
know,
can
I
swim, sir. I
I
already
mean,
know you can
Gary
swim.
got to address how he said that later if y'all want him to, but I'm just letting you know he said
I did never say that. Good try though.
Uh,
it. What we got, Tom?
so I had one that I wanted to bring up to you guys that I know you guys are going to probably be excited to jump on.
Hold
But
on, Tom. Hold on, Tom. Can I say mine first? Can I talk about mine first?
You just
if,
asked him what he wanted to talk
right,
about, and then
what
you just
you just
interrupted.
I didn't. Yeah. Well, I didn't know he really had something to talk
I
about.
guess this is
Like,
the DeAngelo Williams show.
right.
no, it's
Well,
not. I got this question, man. I want to talk about Kwame Brown. Can we talk about Kwame Brown?
go ahead. Do your
We'll just let him
question.
take over the podcast again, I guess.
No, I want to hear y'all thoughts on Kwame Brown because
Hold
I
on,
think
D, real
Jalen
quick.
Rose.
D, let me start on. Let's start this over. Hey, it's your boy Tom here, and we are back with another episode of the Cinnamon Podcast. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I like the Cinnamon Podcast.
What? Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
Nope,
What's your
got it.
Go
Let's
ahead.
go here.
Go ahead and kick
Kwame
it off.
Brown, what we got?
No,
What we got
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
Nope.
Well,
No,
look,
go
it's
ahead,
the
Tom.
first one I was going to go to. We will parlay it into your Kwame Brown question because they can be easily combined. So the LeBron James stuff, as far
I'm muting time. Let's go ahead and start talking about this Kwame Brown thing now. Since time's muted, let's go ahead and talk about. I knew if he was going to say LeBron James, I was going to mute him. So let's go ahead.
No,
It's about damn time.
You muted, sir. You
I
can't.
don't
No,
want
no,
you
no,
to
you
waste
muted,
your
Tom.
cannot
You
talk.
muted. You muted, Tom.
No.
No,
I
mute
don't
that
want y'all to
shit.
waste
No,
your mute.
Nope.
Let me finish real quick.
No,
It's about.
ain't
It's
no
about.
let you
Muted. You
finish.
can finish it afterwards.
It's
You can
about
finish
the
it later.
fact that
You got muted, bro.
It's about the fact that he is.
You are muted. All right.
There we go. He is muted, guys. We muted him.
He
He
is
has to
muted.
wait
I had
until
to
we
mute him.
talk about Kwame Brown first, and then he can bring his up.
Oh my gosh, he's so annoying.
He loves LeBron James or something.
This dude is so he need to stop that. He really need to chill. But all right, so Kwame Brown over the weekend and through some parts of the week, he was getting into it with certain players and certain analysts at ESPN and these different media sites. Well, he was having a conversation with Stephen A. Smith. Jalen Rose was about things that he had said about Kwame Brown. He called Kwame Brown trash. So Kwame Brown responded by saying, yeah, I held a spot down for 10 years and just backlash at Stephen A. talking about, hey, you can meet me outside. And Stephen was like, why was he so mad? This was Jalen Rose's response. And I really like the fact that he responded this way. He said that who are you comparing Kwame Brown to? If you're comparing him to the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, then yes, he's trash. But if you're comparing him to everybody in the NBA, then he's not. He said whenever you step outside of yourself and give you your opinion and not your professional opinion, then you attacking the man. But you attacking the man not from a professional standpoint, but from a man-to-man. So therefore, he returned back and questioned you as a man. So I thought it was interesting that Jalen Rose said that because, again, if you compare Kwame Brown to anybody that's not in the NBA, he's light years in front of them. But if you compare him to the upper echelon of guys, then obviously there's a big difference there. My question is, do you agree with Jalen Rose, or you just like, man, trash is trash? It doesn't matter where you are.
So I say unmute time and let him start it off.
Oh, look at that.
I appreciate
you got to
you guys
respond first.
unmuting me. And you're going to be very disappointed that you wasted your mute once I finally finished my question I was going to ask you guys. But on the Kwame Brown situation, I just think it's silly that someone that never played in the NBA or on that level, was never good enough to make it that level, could say that somebody that made it there is trash, because obviously, yes, comparatively to other NBA players, he did not pan out well, but he still made it to that level. So, I mean, Stephen A. has the right to speak his opinion as far as, that's what we all have opinions, and that's what he does. He's known for giving his opinion and strong stances. But Kwame Brown has every right to react the way he did, because, hey, if you want to talk about me, it's like, what did you do? Like, what? You're probably not very good at basketball, so why are you calling me trash? And like, as to the percentage of people that can play basketball as well as Kwame Brown could or does now, it's a very small percentage of people in this world. So comparatively to everyone in this world, Kwame Brown is an elite basketball player. Compared to other NBA players, yeah, he might be on the trash end of it, but still, it's like he was good enough to be drafted. I think it was number 1 overall. And then, yes, his career did not pan out very well, but, obviously that is still a high level of basketball talent. What about you, Gary?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the same thing we do with all draft picks, especially if you're a first pick. They expect you to come in and be a superstar, be the best of the best, They want you to be the next Wilt, the next Shaq, the next Jordan. And same with football. They want you to be the next Peyton Manning. They want you to be the next Tom Brady, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work out that way for everybody. And I think we put these high expectations on picks like that, and then you expect them to do it. When they don't, you just consider them trash or a bust. And not all of them are. If Kwame would have been a late first round pick, then nobody be questioning it. Nobody would be saying, oh, he was trash, all that kind of stuff. But because he was the number one pick, people want to jump to that conclusion because of that. He was a serviceable player. He played well for a couple of seasons. He had a couple down years. That's what happens with players. It happens all the time in all sports. And I agree. How do you think Stephen A would react if people called him out how terrible he is, like as a comment, like person like that? You think he would get upset? I think he would too. Like he would say he won't, but I guarantee he would in himself. He would feel like a certain type of way just because that's his livelihood. That's what Kwame Brown's livelihood was. Just like it happens all the time. Tons of people comment on players' abilities that never play the sports. It happens all the time in football too. Nobody's ever played it. That's why I've always been a proponent. Like when you have scouts and stuff like that, scout players and stuff like that. Half the scouts have never played the sport, but they're telling you how good this talent can be. Blows my mind how that is become a norm in all sports. You can never have played the sport, but somehow you know more about a player than people that have actually played it. It just blows my mind, but I think Jalen Rose's response was great. I think that's the right way to go about it because I don't think if you want to compare him to Jordan or Wilt or Shaq, because that's the type of position was Jordan or was Shaq, and well, yeah, he's not on their level, but he's definitely better than George Mirasan. George Mirasan wasn't trash, but like George Mirasan didn't have a great career, high expectations because he was 7'7", all that kind of stuff. But like it happens. And I think it was all because of the expectations we put on the first pick or the first 5 picks in the draft. You expect them all to be superstars, and that rarely happens.
Okay, all right. Just real quick because we're talking about basketball and Kwame Brown. Is Carmelo Anthony a Hall of Famer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Easy.
So okay, now you got your question time. Go to your stupid question.
Well, we'll parlay it like this. It's obvious that Kwame Brown's number one that failed to live up to the hype. Not everybody can be like LeBron James and surpass the hype that you have coming in. But my question about you guys, and this is what I was saying, you shouldn't have muted me because I wasn't even about to go on a LeBron James lover rant. But the fact that he is not going to have to sit out because of the NBA health and safety protocols as other players, even his own teammate Dennis Schroeder had to sit out. What's your feelings on that? I mean, obviously LeBron is kind of a big name, and they're about to start the playoffs.
Bullshit. That's how we feel about it.
No. I want to hear Time's opinion first, and then let us go.
Yeah.
So I read an article about it, but I don't have all, because even the article didn't have all the full details. They mentioned that LeBron.
What details do you need? What details do you need, Ty?
Well, like as far as like LeBron and his people reached out to the NBA and told them about the events, and the NBA decided that the event did not raise to the levels of the event did not cause health and safety concerns, and that's why they are not holding LeBron out. So to me, if LeBron reached out to the NBA and said, hey, this is an event I'm going to, what do we need to do? And the NBA didn't say anything about it then, now you can't really say anything about it now.
So, but we can, because the only reason the NBA is not doing it is because it's LeBron James and the playoffs are starting. If it was regular season, I guarantee you they would have been fine with him doing it. But because it's the playoffs and it's LeBron James, they're not going to do it because he is a cash cow for them to make money and have viewers watching the game. So why would they do that and have him not miss 2 games in the playoff and possibly could fall where they get eliminated type of stuff? Like, why would they want to risk that? That's money that's out of their pocket. So in the NBA's mind, they're like, of course, you're good, LeBron. You're the golden child. We're not going to let you get away with everything. We don't care. We're gonna make sure these other guys, though, during the season, they're definitely missing it. I think if it was during the season, they would have done it for LeBron. But because it's the playoffs, they decided we're not going to risk that for the playoffs because he is a big market, a big key player for our NBA. So we need to have eyes on him, and it gets more eyes on the games.
So one of the NBA players had to sit out a game for going back to visit his family, I think. Am I correct, or am I?
I don't know.
Am I wrong? Well, this is under the notion that one of the players went back just to see his family. Like, if you can okay LeBron James to go to a party, then you should be able to okay one that's going back to see his family versus just suspending him for a game. So I don't understand what you mean by LeBron James can pick up the phone, call a commissioner, and say, "Hey, man, I'm going to this party. Can you check it out, vet him out, make sure I can go?"
Right. Right. I
You
don't
gotta
know.
have balls just all in itself just to do that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it still boils down to LeBron James being LeBron James.
Correct. And I understand what you're saying, Time. Well, if he called and got permission, okay, so be it. But the fact is, he shouldn't have got the permission from the league because they wouldn't have gave it to the other players. That's the problem people have with it. Is like he's getting the extra benefit because it's the playoffs and because of who it is. If it would have been somebody that's not in the league or somebody that was like a 12th man on a team that's not going to play, I guarantee they would have done the same thing. They would have made him not quarantine for 5 days or something like that. They would have done it because it's not LeBron. There's a big difference. And if it was regular season, I definitely think they would have too.
Tell me what you guys think about this too. Is I think all of this speaks to just a natural easing of how people are taking COVID regulations. One, because of people having their shots and being vaccinated. And two, it's like because it's just becoming more and more accepted that restrictions are less now because of the fact that people are being less.
You know what, Tom? I ain't got time to be listening to this bullshit, man. Let's talk about something else. Because now you finna give LeBron James a reason for like, they lifting restrictions. Bro, you looking for any reason. You looking for any reason to exonerate LeBron James, bro. It's cool. We know LeBron got the special treatment because he's LeBron. He got the special treatment because he's LeBron, bro.
So here you go. Kyrie Irving went in January. This is when he went and visited. He had a family event at home, and that's what he got. And he missed 5 games and had to forfeit his 5-game all of his money for those 5 games. And the vaccines were already being shipped around that time, right?
I don't even think it was that early. I mean, it might have been, but I don't think in
January. I don't know.
He was the player that they was talking about. He went home, yeah.
But you got to think about where we're at now. Like, they've just.
But you can't, because if you have those policies in the league from the beginning of the season, it doesn't change at the end. It doesn't change for the certain players.
I'm not arguing for LeBron at this point. What I'm saying is they've eased restrictions everywhere so much at this point. Like the other day, I saw a store that was like, we don't require masks anymore as long as you're fully vaccinated. And it's like, okay, so anybody can walk up in the store. There's no way to tell who's been vaccinated or not. And you're seeing more and more of that. Like people are saying, okay, no need to wear a mask if you're fully vaccinated. Okay, so the people who aren't getting vaccinations probably weren't wearing masks already to begin with because they probably don't care. And so the people that are fully vaccinated aren't wearing masks. The people who aren't vaccinated are wearing masks. So now it's kind of like just everything's going to go back to normal because of people that did get vaccinated and people that aren't getting vaccinated are just they're going to continue to live life as if they were, So what I'm saying is like, what mindset is turning on COVID right now to where it's like, how are you supposed to know who's been vaccinated? How are you supposed to know who should be wearing a mask, who shouldn't be?
So are we off the LeBron stuff? I just want to make sure this is not connected.
Well, no, it's connected in the sense of
I know it's connected because you're still trying to exonerate LeBron James. I know that.
No, there's just an overall like lessening of the restrictions, and so I'm just like wondering if that mind frame is playing any part of the fact that
it's not playing any part. It's LeBron James, bro. That's it. We know it. We all know. So, but with the vaccine, I'm glad that you brought that up because we can really transition to that. And I know Gary hates talking about this, but a lot of people have been saying like up the entire pandemic, of people saying that they didn't want to wear masks. They're not going to wear masks. That finally decided, you know what? I'm going to put this mask on. Now that they have this mask on, we're going into that transition where they're trying to take them off. And they was like, hey, we're doing this too soon. There's going to be a small rash of people or a big rash of people that it'll never be time, because once you implement something in a community or in the world, it's hard to go back. you normally have to go forward. Like, at first they was doing like the cloth mask or disposable mask, and then as the pandemic went longer, they got better masks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got better. Now that you're taking them off, they're like, whoa, why are we taking them off so fast? But this is something that we've been asking for a very long time. So the question is this: when is it the appropriate time to take the mask off of a world that you just put the mask on?
Well, look, as somebody that lives in Texas, that the mask mandate was lifted long before, it's kind of like the same as Florida, long before anywhere else. And it went as far as for Biden to call it a Neanderthal move by our government. And our numbers have never been lower. We had a day the other day where there were no deaths, which is the first time that's happened since they started taking that calculation last March or something. And so, like, for me, it's like hard for me to even like think about the mask, because it's like, okay, we did all this. I know how Texas has been living. People have not been socially distancing, because whenever you bring that up, people are like, well, maybe people in Texas have just been doing other precautions. No, no, they have not. You guys know I work at a nightclub, and as soon as those masks were lifted, even before then, we had to work so hard to go around and police people to keep their mask on whenever we were allowed to be open, but with the restrictions of having a mask. We had to work so hard because the people that were out didn't want to wear masks. So it was just very hard to police. So as soon as they took that away, everyone here, for the most part, not everyone, because obviously there's people that don't, but like for the majority of people that were going out and being out and about, it was like back to normal, business as usual. So the fact that our numbers continue to go down with all that happening, and like even Fauci he had an interview a few weeks back. He was like, I don't know how to explain it. That science doesn't explain it. So it's like, for someone like me that's lived here, it's like the time to lift the mask mandates has already passed. If this is the result, you know what I'm saying? But I understand not everyone is going to feel that same way. So I'm kind of in the boat of do what you feel comfortable doing, but I think it's time to get back to business. Whenever you see a situation like Texas or Florida, where like the mask mandates have been lifted and they're just continuing to go down, it's just at some point you got to follow the science.
Well, I do think some of it comes down to it should be contrasted with how many of those states have vaccinated, because that could be a big number as well. Because if people were vaccinated in those states, then you might not be transmitting to as many people, so it could cause it to go down as well. I think that'd be a good number to figure out, because if you find that out and then you find out why it's going down, then and you find the least amount of vaccinated versus not vaccinated in those states, and then which ones are going up and down. I think that's the way you'd have to treat it and figure out how things are going there. But I wanted to go back real quick because I know I have to, because I would be remiss if I didn't. Just for clarification, Karis LeVert, the Indiana Pacers' second leading scorer, averaging 20 points a game, 5 days ago was put in COVID protocols and had to miss the play-in game for the Pacers because of COVID protocols. So you explain to me why LeBron doesn't. That's my problem. You say they're loosening, but they did it for Karis. Karis had to miss the game. They still won, but I'm just saying, like, it's
so what did he have to leave for?
He's out 10 to 14 days. He cannot be back.
I'm saying, but what did he do?
I haven't found anywhere where it says what he actually did. And they said he did not.
Why does it matter, Tom? We all know that LeBron James got the special treatment, bro. Just fucking accept it so we can move on through this podcast, bro. Come on. You holding our listeners up, holding us hostage, bro.
No, it could be a different situation, that maybe it wasn't a league approved, or he didn't let them know.
It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter if it's league approved. It's only league approved because it was LeBron James. That's the reason why it was league approved.
Can we talk basketball since we're here? Let's talk basketball. Tom's not going to let us do anything else. So let's just fucking talk basketball. I think the greatest team in the NBA this year is the New York Nets.
Who's the New York Nets?
Only because they have. I said the New York Nets.
Who's the New York Nets?
I'm not calling them the Brooklyn Nets because it's in New York. It's still in New York. Still in New York. The New York Nets. Okay. Well, anyway, I was watching them play the other day, and it was unbelievable. I don't think that there's another team, and I only brought this up because there's a LeBron James lover in this particular podcast that even he, knowing that that's the strongest team, they played together for the first time in a very long time because of this. I'm gonna sit out and I'm gonna rest. So they all well rested as hell. I don't see anybody beating them in the best of 7, bro, with all of them guys healthy. I mean, their front 5, just the 5. You got James Harden and Kyrie running the point. You got KD. You got what's the man? They got a squad, and then Ben, like they got a squad.
Yeah, I don't foresee them getting beaten. I think there should be the odds-on favorite to win it all. I know time's going to say Lakers, but Lakers struggled with a Steph Curry only Warriors team. Literally just Steph Curry.
We struggle with a Steph Curry only team, and he's arguably the best player in the NBA this year. Let's just make sure.
But you're also not expected to win it all. The Lakers are. There's a big difference. You have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You're expected to win it all. The Grizzlies are not. I'm sorry. But they struggled versus just Steph Curry.
You're fucking
But we do understand that LeBron.
I don't want to hear this.
Just coming back. He was just coming back from an injury.
I want to hear
and
it.
If you watch that game, I don't know if you probably didn't because you don't watch basketball. But the Lakers, like AD, LeBron, and Schroeder were like a combined. They had made a combined 5 or 6 shots in the first half.
Correct.
If they just have their normal first half shooting percentage, they would have been blowing out the Warriors. So I'm saying is, people have games like that. Like the Warriors should have won that game, to be honest. Like they just should have, except for they came up against a clutch LeBron James to shoot that clutch 3 while he was seeing 3 rims. Anyways,
can we end this? Can we end this? Can we end this? Can we end this podcast? Can we end this podcast just on that? Can we?
What? Listen, I can't help it that you just, last week you were over here singing the praises of the most clutch athlete ever, Steph Curry. And I do agree. He is pretty clutch. He's great. And he's been killing this year. I'm sad that they didn't make the playoffs because of your Grizzlies. But LeBron James did what LeBron James does. And it's hilarious because I know I've talked to you guys about this before. Chris Broussard the other day, he was on, I want to say it was Colin Cowherd's show, and he was saying that it'll go down in sports as probably the biggest false narrative ever is that LeBron James is not clutch because so many people believe that. But when you go back and check the numbers and just see how many big shots he's hit in the last minute, and actually in the playoffs, he's hit the most big game shots as far as obviously not necessarily finals winning
correct
shots.
That's to me, that's what's clutch is finals.
But playoffs in general you got to get there. You got to do stuff to get there. But as far as because if he hits a shot that's not in the finals, it's like it's not in the finals. If he hits a shot in the finals, it's like okay, he got lucky. LeBron never has a chance to just be great or clutch because people have this bias against him that you don't want to accept it. Because if, like Gary, I know me and you were going back and forth over the shot and you're like, oh, he just heaved it up there.
He did.
He got lucky. But he took that was his shooting form. Like, it's not like he like tossed it underhanded and was like falling away. If you watch it, he took that shot with his shooting form. He shoots like that all the time. He was actually calling for the ball. So it's not like it just happened to be in his hands. So he knew. And yeah, he shot it. Yeah, it was the end of the clock. But you got to give him credit. That's a big shot to hit.
No. Again, I have maintained since every time we talk about it, I only care about finals. I don't care about clutch other than finals because to me, that's the clutches of the clutch. And he's not been there. And to me, I've always said that. I don't count playoffs or regular season as clutch. I only want to see finals clutch.
Okay.
It's your boy, DeAngelo. We're back again with another episode of Time.
No, but real quick, I do want to say this as far as the Brooklyn Nets. So the Nets do have what I think, if they can stay healthy, they should be the overall favorites win because it's just Kevin Durant, James Harden are just 2 of the absolute best players in the league, and Kyrie. I think if they do have a weakness and if something happens, I think it'll come from him. but we'll see. But I have to ask you guys, in the legacy of LeBron James, if for some reason they do make it to the finals, because I don't even think they're guaranteed to make it to the finals if they can't stay healthy. If he makes it to the finals and they beat the Brooklyn Nets completely healthy, what does that do for his legacy?
It's crazy. I'm gonna tell you what it does for his legacy. It does the same thing for Michael Jordan legacy, or the Lakers legacy when they move past the Clippers, or the Clippers moving past the Lakers and beating that super team. Had the Celtics got beat in the finals when they had Kevin Garnett and all those guys, when they had they big three, if they would have got beat in the finals, then yeah, he deserved the GOAT status or up there with the greatest. It's him and Michael Jordan, no questions asked. Kobe name is now third, but it's not going to happen. But in the event that it does, then yeah, it's Thanos versus all the Avengers, and he wins. Boom.
Well, I'll say this: so it's not like AD has been hurt this year, but I don't want people to forget. Yes, LeBron has AD on his team, and AD is a great player. But he still got a lot. They still have a lot to overcome to beat the Brooklyn Nets. So I personally think that, because then he will have beat that team, the best regular season team, which honestly, just because their ability to move the ball and shoot in today's game, like that Warriors team was just crazy. Because honestly, this, obviously Clay and Steph are better off the ball. Like I think Clay had like 40 points dribbling the ball like 8 times one game or something. So they worked well together. And you got to think, would you take James Harden over Clay? Well, pretty much 100%
Okay.
of the time.
So let me make sure I spell this out though before I dive in.
Go ahead.
Him beating, let's just say he beat Steph Curry and Klay Thompson without KD. Okay, he did that. All right, he came back. He beat the 3-1 series, right?
Right.
Granted, everybody was hurt. Kwame Brown did. Kawhi Leonard did the same thing. What I'm saying is because of the shooting style.
No, that is not the same. Kawhi Leonard did not beat the same Warriors at all. Clay and KD were hurt.
Back to what I was saying.
Did they play in the game?
No, KD did. No, KD. They were both missing for pretty much the whole series.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
So back to what I was saying. So if it's a different style of basketball where the Warriors, they never attacked the rim, and if they did, it was very rare. It was shoot. If you look at the genetic of this next team, you look at James Harden, he's a one-on-one guy. You look at Kyrie Irving, he's a one-on-one guy. The only complete player, just in my opinion, is KD. He can step back, he can create his own shot, he plays defense, he can take it to the rack if he wants to, and he can absolutely shoot the basketball. Well, you look at the other guys, you're saying that not KD, but Kyrie is going to be the weakness. I don't think it's going to be Kyrie at all. It's going to be James Harden. He's going to come up, he's going to be pulling way too many shots, and he's going to not go play defense, and somebody going to yell at him, and that's what's going to break the chemistry.
James Harden plays no defense. I'd rather have Klay Thompson on my team than James Harden.
Absolutely. Just for that reason alone. I got a scoring machine. He's going to take it. He's a Russell Westbrook without the aggression. That's what he is.
Right. So what I was getting at is that Warriors team that they lost to with KD, I think was a better team and better unit as far as the pieces fit together better. But as far as individual talent, this Brooklyn team has to be viewed as, more talented than that team was, at least in my opinion. So if they can't get it done, that's going to be a pretty interesting. But one more thing on this topic before we cut it, because we're pretty much at the end of our time. But did y'all see that Milwaukee Bucks Miami Heat game where the Heat almost pulled off another win? They're the ones who took the Bucks out last year. What happens to Giannis and his legacy if they don't do, if they you got to think they're expected to at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? What if the Miami Heat are able to bounce them out of the playoffs again this year?
Well, I think the biggest difference is Giannis has no shot. So like he's not a shooter. He is a defender and he is a drive. He's not and back to the post because he's a big guy, but he just can't shoot. So like his biggest thing is he doesn't have very much talent around him that can shoot. Like so I'll use LeBron as an example. LeBron could shoot a little bit. He was not he's more polished as a three-point shooter now than he was back then, but he could shoot. Giannis has not learned that part of the game yet. He's improved a little bit, but it's not anywhere near on par. And honestly, I think the Heat have a better complete team. Jimmy Butler's still playing out of his mind. They have Bam when they're healthy. They have Hero. They have a good team, and they play really well together. So like, and that's the thing is like Giannis, if he doesn't do it himself, he doesn't have like they have Middleton and all that, but they're not able to carry the team like Giannis is. So if Giannis plays a bad game, I don't foresee them winning. Like it could happen, and that's the unfortunate part. He just I don't think they have the talent around Giannis for what he's capable of doing. If he develops a shot, then I think that's when you can put him in the level with LeBron because LeBron actually could shoot a little bit. Giannis has not developed that yet.
Okay, so I got this question for you, Tom. What big man do you know that won championships that was really good that didn't just had a regular just a surrounding cast? Like, I mean, I know you probably gonna say Wilt Chamberlain, but I'm talking about that didn't have any other guys around him. They was just role players, and they got him the ball, and he was the man.
No, but Chris Middleton is an all-star. He's not just a role player. And
Again,
they have Drew.
You don't want to give all-star when we mentioned Chris Bosh with the Heat. You don't want to count that. So no, don't give me Chris Middleton was all-star.
No. But Chris Middleton, actually, if you like deep dive on numbers, because it's funny that you bring this up because I play DraftKings every now and then, and one of the analysts puts up numbers for the season side by side. One was Chris Middleton, which was the better numbers. The other was Jimmy Butler. So it's funny that they're playing each other, but Chris Middleton's numbers have been comparatively better than Jimmy Butler's. And you just mentioned how good Jimmy Butler is. And so what I'm saying is he does have talent. They picked up Drew Holiday, who is also a very talented guard. So there is talent enough around it, especially when the Bucks play well in the regular season. I tell you what I think it is. I think that Giannis's game is easier to game plan around than somebody else's
because he can't shoot.
Right.
That's the whole thing I'm saying. That. Like he is a big man. He can't shoot. That's the thing. But he can play guard. But all he can do is drive. So if you force him to shoot, you take a facet out of his game, and that's the whole argument I'm making. Like if you put Giannis on the Heat, I guarantee the Heat's probably they're going to be the guys going against the Nets because that team is just more complete as a team than the Bucks are.
Right. Well, D, do you have any?
This is the last one. This is the last one.
Man.
Say what?
I thought we were done in this crap.
Yeah. No. Because I was looking this up and I couldn't think of his name. But what do you guys think of Bradley Beal? Like Bradley Beal is a guy
he's getting paid.
Yeah, I know he's gonna get paid, but he was a Klay Thompson, right? Was he a Klay Thompson guy that kind of just was
can't shoot like Klay?
He's not a Klay shooter, but he's a
no. I'm talking about as far as his rise to where he is right now. Like Klay Thompson, he was drafted kind of high, wasn't really like a big deal, and then boom, Splash Brothers. You like, damn, who is this Klay Thompson guy? That's how I feel like Bradley Beal came on the scene because I was like, dude, you see what I'm saying? I'm like, who is this dude? Like, has he hadn't been playing like this since he started, you know? He just got on, and even now his name is still not floating around with the MVP. It's crazy because and I'm just comparing these two, and then I'm gonna let if a Bradley Beal has the season that he had this year in the NFL, then he's the MVP. But because there's other names, teams that are more successful, I guess, if you will, his name's not even up there and wasn't even mentioned, bro.
Again, that's how I hate the Heisman. I hate MVP because it doesn't go to the best player that played that year. It goes to the best player on the best team that year or the team that played well.
I don't even think Bradley Beal had the best season on his team. Russell Westbrook had a better season.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
Well, the thing is, like, Bradley Beal without Russell Westbrook whenever those games happen because this is another DFS link. But anytime that Westbrook wasn't playing, it was like automatic lock button start Bradley Beal because his usage and the amount of ability to score points is just so crazy. But with somebody like Westbrook there, the usage that Westbrook has is so high because he does so much rebounding, assisting, and, driving, scoring, that Beal is just not able to shine. So I think that's part of what kept Bradley Beal out of those conversations, because somebody like Westbrook is just like, people know Westbrook for, all of his past accolades. So I think that's what's kept Bradley Beal from being able to rise to that level, is because he does have somebody like Westbrook that controls so much of the narrative in the news, as well as just controlling the ball on the court. And, we'll see. I think they're a good duo, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do anything because as good as they are, I don't think Westbrook can be the number one player on an NBA championship team.
He won't ever be.
Mm-hmm. Well, are you done? Cinnamon?
That's it. So who's the number? I just curious.
All right, here we go. Who's the MVP? Who's your MVP of the season? Who do you think deserves it? Who should get it?
I think
who's
based
MVP?
on how they've given the award in the past, I think it has to go to Jokic.
I'm Jokic all the way.
Okay.
As far as who I think
I'm
was most
Jokic,
valuable to their team, I think as far as who I think is most valuable to their team, and if they hadn't played, I think Steph is like most valuable, to where if he didn't play, they wouldn't have even been close to the playoffs. They've been in the lottery, top 3 again. But as far as the way they give the award out, I think it has to be Jokic.
Okay.
I don't think they're the 1 seed without Jokic either. So
right, but I think they still make the playoffs and are a good team without Jokic. Obviously Jamal Murray got hurt, but I think without Jokic, they're still good enough to make the playoffs.
34-16 on the season's pretty damn good.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm glad that y'all joined us today. And before we leave, I have to ask you this: who's playing in the finals? NBA Finals. Give me your 2 teams, Gary.
Nets, and you know what? I'm going to throw a curveball just because. I'm going to say, because of the way they played last night, screw it. Blazers.
Oh.
I'm going Nets Jazz. I'm going Nets Jazz.
I hope the Jazz, because I'm a Donovan Mitchell guy. I like Donovan Mitchell, so I'm hoping him.
Only because Conley, he's there. I'm going Nets Jazz. He's an ultimate team player. That's who brought our team together in Memphis. Like, I'm going Nets Jazz.
I don't think we need to hear times, so.
Yeah, you know who I'm going with. But I do want to say this, Gary. If you remember, we do have a bet for the playoffs about who makes it in the West. I believe you had the Clippers and the Nuggets?
I think I had Jazz.
Clippers, and Jazz. All right, yeah.
One of them.
We can check the tapes, but I have the Lakers. And if it's neither one of those, then we wash. But when the Lakers make the finals, you owe me, I think it was $1,000. I can't remember exactly.
Definitely no, it wasn't that, because you wouldn't have agreed to that.
Exactly.
It might have been $5 or something.
Right. I think it was $100. But we do appreciate you guys tuning in, and please go check out our YouTube channel.
Just to clarify on the YouTube, we know we said the last 2 weeks we were dropping a new episode of the Serve Story. We are actually going to post the full thing. The whole next season's all going to be posted in one full post in the next coming week. So just be a look for that. That's what we're planning on doing. We're going to try it out and see how y'all like it that way.
Oh, wow, Gear. Okay. You ain't talked to us about that, but we see you making executive moves.
Sugar's got to have some say.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Good.
I'm with it. What he just said, y'all. What he just said. We posted it all together. Because if it had been up to me, I'd have gave you 3 different damn parts and stretched it out. But he want to put it together. We'll see what it look like.
Well, I'm glad Gary carrying some weight around here. He's been more like Sweet and Low than he's been like Sugar here recently.
Well, that's a good one. I could do that one. Hey, it's still sweet though.
That's right. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast. We out.
You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring DeAngelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You push play and they'll push the limits.
Hey, we out.